Hey everyone, Anthony Venuto here with In Touch Mortgage Solutions. It's Friday, Finance Fridays, and thank you again for tuning in for another episode. On this episode, we're going to be talking about a hot topic, the upcoming election on September 20th, and we're going to discuss the three major platforms, the Liberal, the Conservative, the NDP, and what it means for you as a homeowner, someone going out there to look to buy a home in the near future, and things to look out for on the election road. So let's go inside, talk a little bit more. Housing affordability is a very important topic in the upcoming election on September 20th, 2021, as Canadians head to the polls in hopes to maybe change or reform our current political system or keep it the same. Whatever your choices are, we want to be unbiased and very neutral. The point of this video is to literally just talk about three of the major parties' political platforms, promises in regards to housing and housing affordability, and not in regards to any other political affiliation or any other agendas. So what we want to dive into is just understanding you as a homeowner or a new homeowner or someone looking to purchase a home, how these three political platforms, the three major platforms, differ or similar, and what to look for if you're looking to go out there and buy a home or you have an existing home, and what it could mean for the future of yourself, your family, your kids, and what things may be of benefit or interest to you. Maybe you're aware of it, maybe you're not. Let's dive right in and talk about some of the things that we see here from each political platform when it comes to housing affordability. So the Liberals are basically, the current administration, and they're looking to double the first-time homebuyers credit from $5,000 to $10,000. Now that's a very big jump, and that could be something of interest when going through the actual transaction, and what that credit will imply or how that credit will be given to you will be yet to be determined. One interesting point here is actually with the Liberal government, they want to reduce the price charged by the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation, which is CMHC. Right now, for many Canadians that are purchasing a home with less than 20% down, you have to pay an insurance premium. So what the Liberal government is proposing is to reduce that by 25% for first-time home buyers or new buyers that are coming into the market. That is an actual very good point, and that is something that could benefit many Canadians, especially if you're buying with an insured mortgage. There are many points in their agendas when it comes to housing, but in the efforts to keep this video very narrow and focused, what we're looking to do is just understand a little bit more about it. What they also are proposing to do is introduce a multi-generational home renovation tax credit. This seems very interesting, and this is for families who are looking to add an additional unit or renovate their home. They're looking to give you either a 15% tax credit or up to $50,000 to help you facilitate this renovation in construction costs to help make that home more livable for more people that may be living in that home or bringing in more people into that home. So that's actually something that's very interesting as well. They're also looking to temporarily ban foreign ownership for Canadians in the housing for the next 2 years. So basically foreign home buyers, they're looking to ban that unless you can confirm that you're going to be purchasing this home for future employment or if you plan to live in it when you immigrate to Canada. So this is very important stuff here. They're also looking to review some of the corporate structure of rentals, who owns these rentals, maybe create a little bit more disclosure so that there's an ability for them to see where they can change things. How they're going to implement these are obviously up for debate. These are just the promises that they're putting forward. They want to basically crack down on a criminal aspect of enforcing ways for us to find out, or ways for the government to find out for anti-money laundering and fraud, because obviously that is a big proponent of potentially why home prices are up, because these illicit funds are being used to purchase homes, and they're looking to crack down on how these people are doing that. One big thing that I see here, and this may be good or bad for investors depending on how you look at it, but good for homeowners, is they want to establish an anti-flipping tax, which basically means that if you've purchased a home on paper and you don't plan to live in it and you want to sell it, you're paper flipping, is they basically want to make sure that that doesn't happen and you have to close on the home and you have to live in it for at least 12 months. And they basically want to introduce like this whole Bill of Rights for home ownership to make sure that home ownership is something that is affordable and obtainable to many Canadians. One thing I do want to enter here, and then we're going to get into with the other parties, is the capital gains implication for selling your primary residence. There's a lot of news and a lot of discussion about the Liberal government wanting to impose a 15% tax for homeowners that are selling their primary residence. Currently, in the current situation that we're in right now, you do not have to pay capital gains on the sale of your primary residence, but the Liberal government is planning to make those changes. How they're going to implement that, if there's going to be a tier system, if you're living in 1 to 5 years, there might be a different tax component, but that is something to consider. And we're going to dive into the Conservatives and look here now exactly what the Conservatives are looking to do. And you'll see some nuances that are very similar, but yet some of that are very different, how they're tackling this home ownership and the affordability. So basically is they want to encourage Canadians to invest in rental housing. So basically, if you own rentals, they want more people to go out there and buy affordable, those who can purchase homes so that they can rent them out, and also defer capital gains when selling rental properties and reinvesting into other properties. So it's not like you're selling the property and then taking the cash out, which triggers capital gains. They want you to take that money that you sold the rental property for and buy another one, and you could be deferred on taxes. They basically want to also create some infrastructure for investments in housing supply, which is important because much like the Liberal government, the Conservative government wants to open up the land. The Crown owns a very large chunk of land, and if we can open this up for development. I also want to encourage a new market for 7 to 10-year mortgages to provide stability for both the first-time home buyers and lenders, which would reduce the need for mortgage stress tests according to the Conservative platform. How they're going to implement this requires them to be at the table with a lot of the lenders, as well as your top 6 lenders, as well as the insurance providers, and making sure that we can talk to all the governing bodies and the regulators to make sure that these are things that can be done. The big one for the Conservative government is they want to fix the mortgage stress test rule to stop discriminating against small business owners, contractors, and other non-permanent employees, including casual workers. Right now, under the current insurance and guidelines for stress test rules, all Canadians are stress tested at a higher rate rather than the posted rate that they would be getting or the discount. So basically what they're looking to do here is by changing the dynamics of the stress test rules, making it easier for Canadians in specific sectors or that are having a difficulty to actually still gain access to housing through a different means. And once again, how they're going to implement this is going to be a question for the debate, as well as to see how they roll it out. One important thing, as opposed to the Liberal government, they never want to tax Canadians on capital gains from the sale of their primary residence. Now, if you're a homeowner, this is great news. If you're a potential homeowner looking to go out into the market and then eventually purchase your primary residence or your forever home or a home that you want to live in and then move, this is something that you may want to consider when you look at the parties, platforms, and what suits your best interest. So once again, Liberals want to tax potentially your capital gains or sale of your residence, your primary residence. The Conservatives are looking to never tax that. You can make your own decision on whether that's a good or a bad thing. They also want to increase the limit on eligibility for mortgage insurance and index it to the price of inflation. So when they say eligibility of mortgage insurance, right now, there are limitations, as I said, and we'll see this as the 25-year amortization as opposed to 30, as well as some of the criteria for the eligibility. And the fact that they want to do it as on the home index of price inflation means that it would be a constantly changing thing. We haven't seen many changes to the way mortgages are administered through the stress test, through the insured product, in regards to the last couple of years, right? We always see rules tightening. Now it's maybe time for rules to be opening up a little bit, and I think that's what they're trying to do. How they're going to administer, once again, is up for a debate. They would have to sit down with the lenders as well as the insurers to see how they can actually come to an agreement and what that means. Obviously, they want to increase policing and prosecution for money laundering and fraud across Canada right now. That is a big proponent. As I said, the Liberals as well as the Conservatives right now are trying to do that. And that could actually equate to some, additional resources for the governments, as well as increase the amount of homes that are available. Because if you're taking away the fraud aspect from people buying homes through illicit funds, then you have more inventory for the average Canadian to go out there and purchase one. They want to ban foreign investors not living or moving to Canada from buying homes for the next 2 years. So saying the Liberals want to make sure that if you're buying it for future residents or for immigration, then you should still be able to buy it. Also, what they want to do is implement like a fair housing approach to address the homelessness in Canada. That is also something that the Liberals have on their plate. So as you can see, they're well-balanced platforms. One thing of interest is both going to maybe dive into in another video on how that can impact, but they also want to remove the blind bidding so everyone at the table actually knows what is happening. But as you can see, the two platforms are very similar. The way they're trying to achieve their goals may differ. Let's dive into the NDP right now and look at what they're trying to do. They're basically being aggressive. They want to create at least 500,000 units of quality, affordable housing in the next 5 years. They're also dedicated to Fast Start funds so that they can open up projects and get them off the ground faster so that we can get those homes to markets, helping meet the supply and the demand that we see. Increasing, obviously, the affordability. One interesting thing that the NDP is pointing out here is that they're actually giving you very specific. They're saying they want to reintroduce the 30-year amortization to insured mortgages through the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation. I'm not sure if that applies to Sagan as well as Canada Guarantee. I'm assuming it would once they come to terms with how they're going to plan this out. But basically, they want to reintroduce the 30-year. Currently, under the current, you're only able to get a 25-year amortization for insured mortgages by increasing the time to pay it off, which is, I guess, a plus for the buyer because now you can actually maybe qualify for that home as opposed from 25, you can now try it for 30. And conventionally, if you're putting 20% down, you're still eligible for a 30-year. So that would be very interesting to see how that will adjust housing affordability as well as mortgages. I think that would be a really good thing. They also want to double up the home buyer's tax credit, and they want to basically place a 20% foreign buyer's tax on the sale of non-Canadian or non-permanent residents. So by doing that, what they're trying to do is opposed to the other two parties, which is the Conservatives and Liberals, who are trying to basically say, hey, we don't want foreign buyers for the next 2 years. The NDP is saying, hey, we can generate a 20% premium or return for people that do want to buy, and basically that's money in the government's pocket that they can spend or allocate potentially somewhere else. That seems like it's a very good strategy, but as I said, they're looking to do that in a different approach. And they also want to create, programs for registry for transparency for properties, so that we can see exactly what is happening, who owns what, so that they can target if there's illicit or illegal transactions happening in the marketplace. So those are some of the key points from the three parties: the Liberals, the Conservatives, and the NDP. The Green Party and the PPC, and we're not forgetting about them. It's just that basically to keep this video in a very tight frame. The Green Party and the PPC are very valid groups. I will find out more at the debate. I will be watching it, and I will come back with any updates. But I do want to make sure that everyone, gets out to the polls on September 20th. And if you have any questions about these platforms or how it may impact your particular situation, always feel free to reach out to us at In Touch Mortgage Solutions. It's Friday. It's Finance Friday. Thank you again for watching. We wish you a great weekend ahead, and thank you for tuning in.